Go right into it. Just tell me right now, what are some of your best memories of performing in La Villas?
Okay, well, Jimmy and Willie, thank you for coming to my house. Obviously, that should be the first thing I should say. I'm honored and privileged to be able to share with you a couple of memories and anecdotes of Las Villas in Plattekill, New York, upstate. Being a Bronx resident myself, performing wise, if the question has to do with performing wise, the first time that I performed in Las Villas was 1968. And it was with a guy named Bobby Rodriguez. Bobby Rodriguez, who's now gone with us. He was part of Ray Rodriguez's group. This is right before Ray went into the service. And then Bobby stood with the band. So Bobby always had little groups playing. And he would always have one of his other brothers, Jimmy, along with two other business partners, concocting these tours from the Bronx to go getting these buses together and selling tickets to get people to go up to Las Villas. And in one of those tours, I was with Bobby. There was about 6 of us, a sextet. And his brother Jimmy, who plays sax as well, didn't play, but he concocted it. He was the business end of that Rodriguez relationship. And it was 7 buses from the Bronx, and the buses met on Southern Boulevard off 153rd Street in the Bronx, which is now what used to be across the street from the Hunts Point Palace. The buses would line up there, where right now there's a train station, but it used to be just a memorial for the World War II veterans at that time. And right now they've made it a lot better now. But that was the meeting place. It's in the middle between the Bruckner Expressway, 153rd, Southern Boulevard, and Hoe Avenue. And the buses will be there, and of course they said we leave at 11 o'clock. Bulk of the people that made those tours were Puerto Ricans living at that time, having transitioning from Harlem to the Bronx. The Bronx was like the Mecca now. It was like moving on up. The Bronx for the Puerto Ricans was like another world, because the Grand Concourse of the Bronx is where all the Jewish population was. Sunken living room buildings, Art Deco buildings. It's like they were like a notch above where we were trying to go. So as a result of them having exoduses to that part of the Bronx and leaving all of the houses and apartment buildings empty in the southeast portion of the Bronx, then left room for the Puerto Ricans to move in, and we did. And as soon as we moved in, they moved out. And so getting back to the first time, that's 1968, I went to La Villas, and I did 6 sets. Anybody who knows about music, and I've been in the music field for 49 years now, anybody who knows about the music, we've come a long way, and we're trying to get away from playing 3 sets a night. So some of us are lucky enough to play 2, and today, in 2015, some of us are lucky to do 1, a long set, and then you get to go home and you get paid. Back in those days, we did 6 sets, and it included food, I gotta tell you. The people that got on that bus brought food by the mountains, because they had a kitchen over there where they can recalentar, to reheat the food. But the food was already done. It was cooked before they got on that bus. Whatever the menu was, whoever was either, if you paid the ticket, it included the food, or you paid the ticket and you paid a lot less if you didn't want to pay for the food. But when you got there and you were hungry and you were thirsty and you were drinking beer, now you wanted to eat, now you're going to pay for it. The menu was a little inflated because you should have bought it in the beginning. Everything together, you defrayed the cost and you get a discount. And I remember 6 sets is long. We played till about 3 in the morning, and it's about an hour and a half from the Bronx to Plattekill on a good day. Because we got those big coach buses. At that time, also those buses didn't have air conditioning, and those La Giras was in the summertime. And it was probably July to August, not June. They tried to make it where it was sort of keeping in step with the weather, trying to make it on a day that it did not rain. And most tours that I did in Avia were Sundays. I'm not saying the Saturdays didn't exist, and I'm not saying Fridays didn't exist, but from the Bronx, the Sunday one was the best one. People who had to go to work the next day, they got back ripped on the bus. You could drink on the bus. You could smoke in those days on the bus. There was not all of these inhibitions and all of these things that today you can't do, you could do. and there was rapping on the bus. The old man was rapping to this lady's sister, and when they got off in La Villas, they kept on walking to the pasture land, because La Villas was set on acres and acres of land. And then one villa was here, and maybe another villa over there. And the villa that I played with, by the way, was Villa Galicia. Keeping in step with, I don't know too much about the history of La Villas, but I do know that the first wave of Latinos to inhabit and to purchase land up in La Villas were from Spain. And I think that's the reason why a lot of villas had like Villa Galicia, Villa this, a lot of Andalusia, names that had to do with Spanish cities out in Spain, or Spanish customs, let's say. And little by little, then Cubans started coming, Cuban entrepreneurs, businessmen, and they would purchase it when like the Spaniards were tired. They had taken out, I guess, they were tired of doing what they were doing. But basically, it was a haven for Latinos. Okay, so playing is, I can relate to, because it's one aspect, but it's more like having somewhere to go outside of a city environment that was much more, country oriented, and it wasn't as congested, let's say, as us living in buildings, and you can open your window and your next door neighbors across the alleyway. That wasn't happening in Libya. You had a chance to go into a country setting, maybe relax for the weekend, and go back and work, and probably do it again the next weekend. And if you were a regular, you would get a discount on the room. They were like little motel rooms, really. Some of them were cabañas, like cottages. We all know that, right? And but Villa Galicia was the first one I played. I also played in Villa Garcia, and I did that with Joe Cuba, and that was 1971, the year I graduated from high school. I was still a kid. I still didn't even know what I was doing, but he needed a piano player, and his piano player didn't want to make the trek all the way up there. He was staying for 4 days and coming back for 3. So it gave me a chance to hang out with Jimmy Sabater, all the heavy guys, and then I did the Sunny Acres, Villanueva and Sunny Acres, because they were more Latinos that spoke English. Like now they were hip, and I was a young kid, and although I spoke Spanish, I understood Spanish. Basically, I was being reared here. So, for all intents and purposes, the other villas were from the Puerto Ricans from the old school. Okay, they refused to acclimate and speak English, and they had their roots firmly planted in Puerto Rico, but they just happened to be living in New York, and they wouldn't speak a word of English. And their family members, like their children, were my age, my contemporaries, and they spoke English for them. So the first experience, again, Villa Galicia, Bobby Rodriguez, undeniably a great experience.
Perfect. All right. See, one thing about him, man, you ask him a question,
And he goes,
let's go, baby.
I lived it. I don't have to make him say I lived this shit.
Bro, with Gilberto, man, you don't have to pull teeth. Okay. This is what I want. I mean, you covered a lot, though, right there. That's like, that's good enough.
No, and I left out a lot of shit.
I want you to, I did want to ask you, did you ever perform with Hector there or no?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the next question, because I want to focus right on an experience and, mention his name, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, what do you remember about performing with Hector Lavoe in La Villas?
Okay, so now we're moving forward, and from 68 we're into 76. I know we missed a lot. There's a lot of things that have happened in my lifetime, and I'm sure with other people, and I'm sure with the Villas as well. Everything's in transition. Things are moving. New wave of Latino immigrants are coming in. But in 75, I joined Hector Lavoe's band, November 25th, 1975. And immediately, I was thrown into the fire. Why? Because Hector Lavoe at that particular time had a tune that was a mega hit in all of the radios. At that time, we had 4 commercial radio stations. We had Sunday KCR, we had Felipe Luciano, we had Roger Dawson, we had Dick Ricardo Sugar, and Symphony Sid at airwaves at nighttime. Plus we had Polito Vega on WBNX. So we had a lot of exposure. We had a medium that took the music and people were able to hear it, and people were able to come out and support it. And because of it, there was an influx of clubs, a whole multitude of clubs that sprung about all over New York. And any given day, 7 days a week, you can access live music. So in '75, when I joined Hector Lavoe, his hit record was Periódico de Ayer. It already had been out maybe seven months. So I got to enjoy the fruits of that particular tune being a hit. So Hector traveled the world, and we did La Villas twice in '76. So I joined him in '75. I traveled a lot, but '76 we did Villa Sunny Acres. We did twice. Now they wanted him to do a longer version. Remember, I said in '68 they milked us. And I'm not sure I'm not the only one that was milked. Other bands that played that was the norm at that time, 6 sets. They contract you, they paid you whatever it is that you asked for. It included food, and it probably included some soft beverages. I don't think it included liquor. I wasn't drinking at that time, so I don't remember. But I do remember with Hector Lavoe, I was already drinking. And Hector Lavoe was in a position to bargain. And we did 2 sets with Hector Lavoe, which in retrospect is a lot of work, because Hector Lavoe would play a long set, a long 1 hour set. And as he's doing the set, people were just standing in front of him like if it was a concert setting instead of a dance situation, because La Villas, primarily people went there to shake their booty, to, menear el esqueleto. They were dancing. I mean, I'm not saying there weren't people on the side looking at the band and in awe of how we sounded, but more than that, you went to La Villas, you were in a mission. You're gonna get your groove on. You're gonna drink. You're gonna party. You're gonna unwind, whatever, because the next day is back to the same routine. And with Hector, we had more people than not dancing, just looking at. I guess mesmerized by Hector. Hector was just that type of a persona. He had a personality that to this day, 22 years in June that he makes dead, even dead, he's a myth. More so than when he was alive. So when we played La Villas, people couldn't believe that a guy of the popularity and the magnitude of Hector would do La Villas. Now they're looking down on La Villas. Now if you're playing La Villas, you're not top rate anymore. And I never looked at it like that. I just looked at it like I wanted to play, because I knew the mamas were there. Yeah, that's the truth. I was already married, but that's where all the mamas were at. I wasn't getting high. I was probably drinking beer. But Hector's band, most of the musicians were older than me, and they were getting high. Whatever was around, smoking herb, doing blow, drinking beer, drinking liquor, whatever was fashionable. And dicen que la ley empieza por la casa, and Hector was the boss, and now he got high. So when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So the whole band got high, and we had a good time about it, and I look back at it now, going on 18 years of sobriety, and I realized that, it was great. It was an experience, but it's anything when you cross the line of moderation, then you're asking for it. So it became a habit, and it became a bad habit. So whether it's drinking, gambling, womanizing, whenever you cross the line, you're doing it, and you're gonna end up paying the price.
I just want to respond to this. It's like when he's talking, you want to say, "Damn, yeah. All right, yo, perfect, man. One more. This is the question I want to have. In comparison to the pay that musicians get today to then, what was the difference? Talk a little bit about that, all right?
Give me those fingers, brother. Jimmy and Willie, I will tell you this. If anything you get out of this documentary, obviously from everybody who's been able to partake and share their experiences, anecdotes with you about La Villa, this particular question that I'm going to answer now, it hits the grain. Why? Because even today, in 2015, and I've been playing for 49 years, and I'm just probably one of many, because I'm not the only guy around. There's plenty of musicians that are older than me that's still around playing, actively playing, but they're older than me, that's for sure. And I'm 62, so I have the benefit of having a lot of years experience and having started young. So I don't feel old, although I know that I'm getting old. So the pay rate, how does it compare today to then? It's very simple. The pay rate has not increased, and it's not commensurate with the level of work and the cost of living that's across the board in everything. We're still getting paid crap money today. They're still trying to get us to play 3 sets, which sucks, because they're getting more from us and giving us less. I don't think anybody values the hard work that a musician has to go through in terms of studying to hone their craft and to take their playing to another level and to keep it professional. We're not talking about people who play just on the weekends or people just do it whenever. We're talking about people who believe in what they do, and their passion lies in music. And they want to be able to live off music. And unlike me, that I have a day job Monday through Friday, I lived off music for 35 years. The problem was I wasted all my money because I was drinking. So again, I guess that's partly why today I'm sober. I stopped because I didn't know how to manage the money while I was drinking. But with that said, in 1968, when I went Bobby Rodriguez to La Villa, I got $20. Let me say it again, $20. Why do I say that? I say that because today, I still play around with everybody. I still have my own group, Ensalada de Pulpo, featuring El Maestro Rey Bayona on the vocals. And we're not getting paid that much more. And there's many times when I play today with my orchestra and we don't get paid. Some of the guys in my band, they only pay us enough to pay $100. $100 in the grand scheme of things really, really sucks. And that means that the club owners do not want to give us what we deserve to be paid. And that's not me, I'm one of many. I'm sure there's bands out there that get a little bit more than me. There are, because they're going to be. But they probably have three Grammy nominations and I don't have one. But let's say the average musician, and I'm one, I'm an average musician. I play, and so I lend my services out to someone else who hires me just to play piano. I can ask for money, but when they tell me, look, it's only paying this, and it's $100. The truth of the matter is, if I don't take it, they got 7 other piano players younger than me that come after me who play good and could do the job and are looking to amass a resume. They'll do it for less than $100. They're gonna do it. So either I'm content where I'm at and I want to do it just for the love of the art, or I want to be thinking that I'm the last Coca-Cola in the desert and that there's nobody who plays better piano than me, which is far from the truth. Everybody plays good and I'm a fan of everybody, but the reality is this: it does not. It has not increased in value. Everything else goes up. The toilet paper goes up, the toiletries, the soap, the milk, and they keep the musicians down here. And the reality is, in terms of profession, we have studied just as much as an engineer. We do. And there's a lot of musicians who are just not crafty and knowledgeable in their instrument. They arrange, so they arrange for an orchestra. They studied orchestration and arrangements, and it's exclusive of their instruments, so you have to put more time in. And I feel that you should get compensated for the time that you put in. So it's just not the years of experience performing as an instrumentalist, let's say, but all the time and the knowledge that you've put together to be the person that you are. So the answer very simply is no. We don't get what we should be getting. It has not increased. It's not commensurate with the 35, 40 years that have passed from 68 to 2015. And I don't think it's going to get any better, because in New York City, as we speak, not only are the villas obsolete and no longer around and functioning, there's very little nightlife, clubs actively showcasing live music in New York now. 1 or 2 or 3. And 1,000 bands, so we can't all possibly get there at the same time.
That was great, man.
And you